Warning, the following program may contain coarse language, strong violence, and brief sexuality. This video was designed for a mature audience, and viewer discretion is advised. Ambitious is a word that is rarely expressed as much as it used to be in the current game industry. With games becoming more and more expensive, AAA publishers are mostly playing it safe when publishing their games, and instead are relying on indie studios to push boundaries on what games can do. With this current trend, genres that were huge successes a generation ago are now starting to stagnate due to a lack of evolution. And the most obvious example of this is the first-person shooter genre. Thanks to an oversaturation of the market and overall Call of Dutyization of the game genre, first-person shooters seem to be losing what made them so special, and are desperately trying to grasp onto something that will help them make it through this new generation. Earlier this year, Sledgehammer Games' response to this problem was Titanfall, a multiplayer-only space odyssey involving giant mech shootouts and large, sprawling, objective-based sessions. The results were overwhelming critical praise, but not much else. Last posted sales numbers were near 1 million units sold, but that's a far cry from Call of Duty numbers or even Battlefield numbers. However, in September this year, Bungie, the creators of the Halo trilogy, are stepping back into the arena with Destiny, a science fiction shooter that seeks to capture the gameplay of the Borderlands series, the scale and atmosphere of sci-fi classics, such as 2001: A Space Odyssey and the original Star Wars trilogy. And last, but not least, the gripping addiction that is MMO replayability. There are many words to describe this game, but I feel that there is only one word that can capture what they're trying to achieve, and that's that curious word, ambitious. Recently, Bungie has released their open beta to the public for all who have pre-ordered the game, and through my various resources, I have acquired a beta code. In this first glance video, I will take a look at the beta and give my initial thoughts on what's presented. Does Bungie's new IP have the potential to start a new FPS dynasty, or was this sci-fi epic doomed to fail? Ladies and gentlemen, tune in and find out.
There you are. Guardian? Eyes up, Guardian. It worked. You're alive. You don't know how long I've been looking for you. I'm a ghost. Actually, now I'm your ghost. And you, well, you've been dead a long time. So you're gonna see a lot of things you won't understand.
Destiny opens with a flashback of a Mars exploration team landing and beginning their mission. They come across a giant floating white spear, and then the scene fades to black. Fast forwarding to the future, you are then moved to a fairly detailed character customization screen, and are prompted to pick from 3 races. Human, for the boring people out there. Exo, a mechanicoid race that looks like a fusion between the Geth and the Terminators. And the Awoken, who bear a suspicious resemblance to the Asari from Mass Effect. After creating your character, you then wake up in the remains of what used to be Russia, and are informed by Peter Dinklage, Tyrion Lannister, a ghost, a ghost, that you have been dead for a very long time, and that you are needed to help save the world as one of its guardians. After a brief tutorial that quickly introduces you to the Fallen, you then find a ship that quickly takes you to the floating white spear, now named the Tower. From there, the story segments of the beta end, and besides a quick chat with the speaker, who seems to be some kind of priest or leader of the tower, there is very little story being showcased in the beta. While that's not necessarily a bad thing, this is just a glorified demo after all, it does slightly detract from the experience. The universe of Destiny is looking vast and expansive, and from what I've seen, the politics and various religious themes seem to point in an interesting direction. So as far as story is concerned, I'm intrigued but a little underwhelmed by what was shown. Up next, there's gameplay, the delicious meat of this dish. Right off the bat, you should notice that it looks very similar to Borderlands. And, well, that's because it is. Controls are nearly identical, with the exception being that melee is mapped to the shoulder button rather than the thumbsticks, and while it takes some adjusting to get used to, I found it worked especially well in situations where multiple enemies were trying to slice me up like a Thanksgiving turkey. If I did have one gripe about the interface, I would say that it's really clunky to switch weapons from the quick character equip screen, but as you level up you gain access to 3 different weapon slots that consist of primary, support, and heavy classes. And you're not even limited to just guns too. Beta access has only allowed players to pilot a Sparrow, a.k.a. Speeder from Star Wars, and promises greater and more destructive vehicles from the shops. Combat is largely your standard Halo affair, which is to say pretty excellent. There are several different types of fallen enemies to shoot, from squads of grunt-like dregs and elite-like captains. Even better is the way they interact with the environment. Sometimes enemies will flank you and try to swarm you with their overwhelming firepower. Combat scenarios can range from trying to recover parts from your ship to assaulting an enemy's fortification to gain a foothold. And by far the best scenario is a survival horror-esque sequence where you go into shadowy areas filled with enemies with only 1 life and respawning at a checkpoint if you die. When I first started to play, I felt that the game was a bit too easy at the start, but I soon found the difficulty select option and was quickly proven wrong. One moment you can be easily mowing down enemies at a calm, smooth pace. Next you can be yelling, "Oh crap, that's a tank!" where you find yourself blown to Narnia. Same situation with the survival horror sections. It's extremely terrifying to hide in a corner and pray that something's not coming around to turn you to giblet. Largely, the best way I can describe the gameplay of Destiny is silky smooth with a wide variety of things to explore and do. And that's definitely what I want my first-person shooters to be. Betas have been proven to be hit or miss in the past when it comes to presentation. In spite of this, Destiny looks absolutely gorgeous, especially for a game that's going on as many SKUs as it is. While it does have this dusty, gritty look to it, there are many colors being put on display too. Models, especially player ones, can be incredibly detailed with a fairly in-depth character creator where you can find a unique look and style that appeals to your taste. Art direction is breathtaking with huge skyboxes and an aesthetic that calls back to classic sci-fi, ranging from Star Wars to Star Trek. When I was playing solo, I didn't run into any issues like frame rate drops or loading textures, so performance definitely holds up. While it may not run at 60 FPS, and seriously, who expects a game of this scale to run at that rate? The visuals are still pretty smooth, and I don't need to tell you that. I mean, just look at the screen. Is there a single detail here that doesn't appeal to you? It's definitely not the best looking game ever, but it would still turn heads if someone walked past it. Marty O'Donnell, the composer of all the Halo games made by Bungie, did the soundtrack for Destiny, and it's gobsmackingly stunning. Unfortunately, this is a beta, and at the time of recording, the soundtrack isn't yet to be released. But I do have some install footage with the ambient noise, so why don't you take a listen? Almost makes the install time worth it, doesn't it? Almost. Moreover, that's really all I got to say about the presentation. It's really wholesome, and I hope that this is just a taste of what is to come.
We called it the Traveler, and its arrival changed us forever. Great cities were built on Mars and Venus. Mercury became a garden world. Human lifespan tripled. It was a time of miracles. We stared out at the galaxy and knew that it was our destiny to walk in the light of other stars. But the Traveler had an enemy, a darkness which had hunted it for eons across the black gulfs of space. Centuries after our golden age began, this darkness found us. And that was the end of everything. But it was also a beginning.
When I started this beta, I honestly had no idea what to expect from it. I had heard about the game way back in 2010, when I was still reading Bungie weekly updates for Halo Reach, and all the information that was coming in kept suppressing my interest in the game. An MMO designed for a shooter? That sounded terrible. So terrible that I actively ignored all information about Destiny. Now, having experienced a small slice of the game, I'm hooked. I'm more than hooked. Excited even. I can see the potential in this game, and it makes me happy that Bungie, the people who spawned one of the most influential shooters to ever come out, left their comfort zone with Microsoft, and have decided to take a risk on something so different. Bungie has won my purchase and has me feeling something I never thought I would feel from a AAA shooter ever again: anticipation. If you reach the end of this video and are not convinced by what you've seen, I can't think of anything that could possibly persuade you to give this game a try. Unfortunately, at the time of this video, the beta is now closed, and there more than likely won't be another one before the game comes out. But if my words have failed to convince you, I would say wait for the reviews at launch and see what other people feel. It won't tell you to pre-order this game right off the bat, because for all I know, it could just completely fall apart after everything I've played. Nevertheless, Destiny is getting my recommendation. If this beta is what it's supposed to be, a taste of what is to come, I think that this is going to be the first true next-gen experience that this generation will see. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope to encounter you when Destiny takes to the stars. This is Childe of Shade, signing out, and I will see you next time.